Just three ordinary people from the hills of eastern Kentucky. We don't have all the answers, but we do have all the questions. This is the Just Add Bourbon podcast with Jimmy Don, JD, and Don. Welcome, everybody, to the Just Add Bourbon podcast. I'm Jimmy Don Kerr.
I'm Don Giesica.
And our boy, JD Dameron, is on his way. He had to go grab his son last minute. He just texted, said he, sent this big, long text, Don, of a bunch of information he didn't need to tell us, to simply say, hey, I'm going to be late. So,
oh, no. He's always giving us TMI, isn't he?
Yeah, too much information from JD. That's, JD TMI Dameron. That is Mr. Dameron. But no, we've got a good show on tap for you guys today. Those of you that are in the audience, if there's a topic that you would like for us to talk about, put it up here in the comments, and we'll see if we can't get it in today. But Don, let's start off. I know there was a collective roar here in Eastern Kentucky, because Amy was showing it to me on Facebook, when the Cincinnati Bengals had a walk-off field goal to earn their right to the championship game. I think it's the AFC championship game, for the right to go to the Super Bowl. Are you a Bengals fan?
Well, I grew up where you grew up, so we love Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah. I also like Tennessee Titans, but here's the thing. I don't really watch the NFL, so I don't really care. But when you have somebody come from basically our hometown, and then you come into my turf, Tennessee, I mean, I'll say either one of them would have been fine, but I was really happy with the outcome.
Oh yeah, no, I was pumped up. Like, I went down.
I love Burrow. Yeah, I was excited.
Yeah, I went down Brad and Tiff's and was hanging out for a little bit, and we were watching the game. And when they kicked that field goal, Brad and I both just jumped up, like, why, like screamed,
right?
Because it's been a long time. Because like you said, when you're from here, and I think we said this last week, there just aren't a ton of professional teams around.
Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, so you're either like depending on where you're at in the state, you might be a Steelers fan, you're a Bengals fan, Titans fan, So, and the Bengals haven't done anything of note, as we mentioned last week, in 31 years. So, for them to be able to have a chance to play for the Super Bowl, and what will be fun, Don, and JD's Chiefs play here next. I've got the Rams and Tampa Bay game on my television right now, but the Chiefs play next. And so the winner of that game is who the Bengals play. So I don't know if JD can handle the Chiefs and the Bengals.
Right. Like I said, I like Tennessee Titans. Have you ever been to the Titan Stadium, to Nissan
I have
Stadium?
not been to it, but I have been by many, many times, because we stay over there in town a lot for those dance competitions.
Yeah, I mean, Nashville's great. Tennessee, everybody always gives the Titans a hard time, but they've been making a run these past few years. So we've been keeping an eye on them. But honestly, we really don't watch enough NFL to get tore up. But when it comes time for the Cincinnati Bengals, or these big underdogs, and they finally get their time to shine, then it is completely a game changer in here. So we watched the show. We kept up with it. We read Todd was telling me about an article about the kicker. Did you see that, where the kicker went up? And he told you'll know the positions, but the little guy who holds the ball, I don't know, they may call him a holder for all I know. They call him
the holder, yeah, he's a holder.
And he said, well, I guess we're going to go on, to the playoffs or whatever. I thought I love that kind of confidence, So
he's a beast too, and people criticize the Bengals for drafting that guy. They actually criticized for drafting that kicker. And I saw a post last night. It's a buddy of mine who lives in Cincinnati. His family's had season tickets for 50 plus years. Yeah. And, he said who was criticizing the Bengals for drafting a kicker, a place kicker. So I don't know. It worked out good. Something, Don, I was interested in. Hopefully JD will be able to jump on here while we're talking about this. But, there was a lot that happened with the NFL, with the kneeling and, all those things where people were boycotting, the NFL, or said they were. And the NFL last weekend set some crazy, like, all-time records for, viewership. Now, that could have been because of Cincinnati fans. I don't know, because it's the first time in a while we've had a chance. Does that surprise you that the NFL has recovered in that way?
No, not at all. Everybody has short memories. every human has short memories. They're really mad and passionate about something at one time. And then let's be honest though, the NFL has calmed that down too. They've calmed their political antics down, and that has allowed some healing. And I'm glad that their viewership is back up. I'm glad people are enjoying watching sports again and watching these very talented athletes get out there and do their thing. But no, it doesn't surprise me at all that viewership is back up. Like I said, it's something that we need. What does surprise me, though, is how the NFL and everybody is switching the tone on the COVID stuff. Now, that, they were so passionate and so self-righteous and superior just a few months ago. You have to have all these vaccines. We're going to test you. We're going to do all this. And now they're like, we can, we're getting closer and closer to the Super Bowl. So who needs that? Let's just keep going. So
hey, money talks, right?
Yeah. But no, I'm glad viewership is up, and I'm glad that people do have short memories because, life is short, right, Jimmy Don? And people have really passionate views one on a Monday, and then their mind might change on a Friday. So
no, you're absolutely right, Don. And the NFL's really kind of got it locked down. So does college football. Football in general really kind of has the public locked down because every game means something. In the NBA, they play like 82 regular season games. So it really doesn't matter till you get to the playoffs. Same thing with baseball. There's 160 some games, whatever it is, and it really doesn't get important until the playoffs come. College basketball is very much that way too because of the NCAA tournament. Now, we as Kentuckians always care. But, for the most part, football has it locked down because it's a short season and every single game means something. Yeah.
Now, is Tom Brady, he's still in it, right?
Well, they're playing right now, and they were down 27-3 or maybe 27-6, and Brady just threw another touchdown pass, and they're down 27-20 with 2:54 to go. So I'm just wondering if Tom Brady's going to pull off another miracle here, do what Brady does, that Brady magic.
Do what Brady does, yeah.
And beat the Rams, because they're talking about, the rumors are out there that this may be Brady's last year. So I don't know. But
I had heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's definitely the GOAT.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, people hate him, but I don't. I do not hate Tom Brady. I don't know why people hate on people who are successful. Like, I don't get it. I mean, I really don't. He hasn't done anything mean to anybody who truly hates him that I know of, but they just don't like Tom Brady. But yeah, when it boils down to it, math doesn't lie. Facts are facts. And Brady is going to go down in history as the greatest quarterback.
Yeah, no doubt. So the other, of course, we always kind of start with sports here on the show, and the Cats. Tough loss yesterday on the road versus Auburn, the number 2 team in the country. Can't say that I was surprised by it. I thought we played pretty well considering, Ty went out in the first half. We were in that game the whole time. And as I like to say, especially since Cal's been here, championships aren't won in January. But I still like where the Cats are, and I think we saw that Auburn is for real. They're a real team.
I think we saw two things. I think we saw that Kentucky's for real too. Look, when you get a banged up back foot like that, we played without the point guard and we played several minutes without Wheeler. So that's a big deal. If you remove Auburn's 2 top players and then remove ours, then we're playing even. Auburn is definitely good. I like Bruce Pearl. I liked him when he was up here. Tennessee hates him, but I liked him. The Auburn fans, I don't know what it is about their fan base, but they don't annoy me. Or I've not met any Auburn fans that try to accost me and throw ice at me. And, I compare everybody to the Tennessee fan base. What can I say?
Right.
But anyway, when I watched the game, I sat there and I thought, Kentucky can beat them. We could have won that game easily. But when you have injuries take you out, I mean, come on, Jimmy Don, we were at Auburn. It wasn't a neutral site. There was some odd calls that even Auburn fans said, Toppin was getting fouls on him left and right. Yep. I mean, so honestly, I came away from it thinking Kentucky definitely has Final Four contender in there. And then I know we always go back and forth on Calipari. So let me be clear on my stand with Calipari. I think he's probably a jerk kind of a guy, and that's what I don't like about him. But it's kind of like family. I can say what I want about Calipari, but a Tennessee fan can't say anything about Cal.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Because he's my coach, so I can dog him, but nobody else can. But I did read I guess he did a post-game interview. It was on CBS Sports, and he did make the comment, and this is where I struggle with him. As a Kentucky fan, I'm about winning games. That's what we all should be about. He has a top player sitting on the bench. And I don't know if you read this article or not. His name is Shaden Sharp. Did I get that right?
That's right, yep.
You have Shaden Sharp sitting there. He's been, practicing some. Cal says he's not ready. When you lose your backcourt like we did, and we have somebody sitting there, you would think you would throw everything in the pot to try to get the win, right? So they asked him about this, and Cal said that he told his parents that he told this kid's parents, I'm never going to put him in a position to where it hurts him, and it's not about a win for me. And that always is going to rub me a little wrong, because he does seem to have this NBA only drive. And he's not at Kentucky to feed the NBA, Jimmy Don. He's at Kentucky to win games. So that's where I struggle with Cal. So what are your thoughts on him not using? Because this kid's probably never going to play for us. He's probably going to go into the draft.
Well, it came out earlier this week that he is going to be eligible. There was some question whether or not he was going to be eligible. Now, Cal and he both, say he will be back next year. Now, as far as what you dislike there about Cal, and what I'm getting ready to say, you probably agree with, but I actually like that Cal's that way.
Because what way?
That he is players first. That not about the NBA, but he is about the players first. And the reason I like that is because he has been able to really broaden the brand of Kentucky basketball since he's been here, because he's been able to get some of the best recruits in the nation, right? We've had some of the best. Now, the past few years hasn't been as good. I think that has a lot to do with Antigua being gone. Now that we've got him and Chin Coleman, I think you're going to kind of see, we got Shaden Sharp. He's the number one player in America.
Sure.
I like that Cal's that way. It also gives me a reason to watch the NBA, because I like all these. I watch the guys that play for Kentucky in the NBA because I like sports. But, Stoops, one of the things, just to compare to Stoops is a player's coach, right? People want to come to Kentucky and play football for Stoops because he's a player's coach. He got a lot of credit for what they did, the way his staff handled the Black Lives Matter stuff, where he went down, protested with his players. He talked to them about it. They marched together. And I see Cal as being very much the same way. Just like when they kneeled, people didn't like that. I didn't like it. But I understood why Cal did that with his players. Those are young black men. We don't know what
I would do it. I
don't know how those guys' lives are. I will never pretend to. But, when Cal did that, it upset a lot of people. I didn't like it, but I ain't going to quit watching it. So Cal has done so much for the Kentucky brand. Like, there's just not another coach I'd rather have. And putting Shaden Sharp in that game yesterday would have been a mistake, because with that atmosphere, with that pressure, you just don't want to bring him into that. You want to bring him into Rupp, where we're winning a game, where he can come in and get his feet wet. And it doesn't really matter how well or well not he plays. So that's the only, the difference. Because ever since Cal's been here, I want us to win the SEC. We still have a chance to win the SEC. Now, Auburn's going to have to help us at this point, but we still have a chance to win the SEC. We're going to probably win the SEC tournament, and then we're going to go into the NCAA tournament, and then it's on. And I think I told you this before, since Cal's been here, I don't even really care about the regular season. I want to win, but it's about March, because our teams always get better. And when we get to March, we're going to get Elite Eight. It's been a minute since the Final Four, but we're going to have a good run in the tournament. And so I got something to do in March. And so I don't know. I love Cal. There's not another coach I'd rather have than Cal. I don't know anybody else could do the job outside of Pearl, and they'll never hire Pearl.
No, there are plenty of good coaches out there. He's a great recruiter. I agree with what you're saying on the players first. I think every coach is pretty much players first, though. As far as the kneeling and stuff, I get why he did that. I understand that. I would be hard pressed to wonder what I would do if I'm immersed in with Black families and Black kids all the time. And if they felt really passionate and really strongly about it, I would be, I'd be pressed to say what I would do. Now, we're a military family, so we believe in standing for the flag. That's what we believe in. But I get what he did. And like I said, if that's what people need to do their protest, so be it. I can see why you would do it. I'm not even going to question that. If I felt like, the country was causing me all that harm and me all that emotional trauma, then who's to say what I would do? Does that make sense?
It makes total sense.
Yeah. So back to the players first thing. Of course, I think he's players first. Like I said, I think all coaches are. I've been happy with Cal, but I like to win games. I like to hear interviews to where my coach is irritated that we didn't win games. I'm not talking about just the Auburn game. I'm talking about the national title that we fought Wisconsin in. I'm talking about, why don't you win when we have these big elite players? Why aren't we not pulling down natties? Duke didn't seem to have a problem. Gonzaga, Villanova, these people don't even have the recruits that we have, but yet they make their way all the way up to the national championship. Look, it boils down to Kentucky has one thing in that state, Jimmy Don. We both know what it is. Right behind the Derby is Kentucky basketball.
Yep.
So, and I'm so excited that Kentucky football is doing good. But ultimately, our name, when you were born, as soon as you were born, you started hearing about Kentucky, just like it happened with me. That's all we know is Kentucky is a basketball school. We have to protect that brand.
Yeah, no, I agree that when I was, the girls were born, they got the Big Blue Nation onesie put on them, and and they became part of the Big Blue Nation. That's just that is how it is in the state. Same thing happened to me, and it's a family tradition. And I agree with what you're saying too.
Mm-hmm.
You want your coach to hurt and feel it the same way that you do when our team loses. I just don't know that there's, and I mean this, I don't know that there's another coach out there outside of Bruce Pearl that can take Kentucky basketball for what it is. We had Rupp, and we're, Kentucky basketball is a weird thing, but, you're seeing it right now with like UConn, and, you may sit with Duke, you may sit with some other teams. The reason we're a blue blood is because we've been through multiple coaches and the success continued. Outside of Eddie Sutton, in the Bucks just scored, FYI. It is now 27-26 with 42 seconds to go. Tom Brady's doing it again.
So they're down one. The Bucks
are down. But they're going to kick a field goal here, and it'll be tied. So, and we're down 27-6 going into the fourth quarter, people. Tom Brady.
There's James. James keeping us posted, too. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, well, it's just crazy. It's crazy. This may end up being an all sports show.
So, speaking of Tom Brady, have you ever tried the Tom Brady diet?
No.
Oh, honey. I think the success rate on the Tom Brady diet is about 30 minutes. I mean, it's pretty intense. It's plant-based, it's high alkaline. There's a reason why he is 40. He's my age, so he's 44, and looks like he's in his 30s and has still got all this athleticism going on. And his wife is a total smoke show who also sticks to this real intense diet. You guys need to look it up sometimes, because Tom Brady is, like James said, he's the man. He's the man all the way around. You wouldn't believe how he eats.
Yeah, hold on. Let me bring in Mr. Dameron. Mr. Dameron, how are you?
You made it.
The man, the myth, the legend. I'm here, baby. What's going on?
We were just talking about the GOAT, Tom Brady, and the GOAT showed up, right?
I mean, speak the devil's name. You know what I
mean? No, we've been chatting a little football, JD. I said, and Kentucky basketball too, kind of start the show off. And I was, just kind of I was telling Don, I said, Tampa Bay was down 27-6 going into the fourth quarter. And now it's tied now. It's tied with 42 seconds to go.
Wow.
So sorry about running late, guys. I got a call like 5:30. The kid's stepdaddy has COVID, so I had to go grab them. And Haley was at Leah's house, and I was like, she's not going to quarantine up there. She's going to come quarantine here. She's she's my responsibility, not their responsibility. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But I don't think she's even at the quarantine. She's not been around him. So I think Cole's going to quarantine here. I'm going to keep her over here so she doesn't get COVID.
Yeah.
And sorry about being late. I was trying to take care of the kids of mine.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Sorry,
Haley's.
I hope they do okay.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, when this Chiefs game gets on, I might have to jump off here, boy. I'm worried about this Chiefs game.
Well, that's what Don and I were talking about. You know, if the Bengals, winning their game, if the Chiefs win, because this is going to be a game. That Chiefs-Bills game is going to be a game. Like the Bills may be the team this year.
The Bills, if they play like they did last week, ain't nobody beating the Bills, man. Man,
they're legit. I mean, the Bills are good. I said, but then, if KC wins, it's going to be Bengals KC. And, probably while this show's going on, and I don't know that we're going to be able to do anything. Brad said he wanted to come on. He said if that's on and we're doing the Super Bowl and it's Bengals KC, that he's going to come on with us and talk JD.
They're careful about talking me with the Chiefs now. I can tell you. Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes is the problem.
No, he's the man too. But I mean, it's just so much talent in NFL. Like I said,
that's crazy.
I actually like Stafford too, because he was a Bulldog. I got to see Stafford play a whole lot. When he was in college, I saw him twice at Commonwealth, and he was just a beast.
He is.
But the fact that they've come all the way back in this game and tied it up, it blows my mind.
Crazy. I missed the last quarter here, so I walked him in the door, checked the score. It's 27-20. Then Fournette scored the touchdown as I was walking in here to get on the laptop. We was talking earlier today about great quarterbacks. You can dislike Tom Brady for a lot of reasons, but that dude's the GOAT, bro. He's the best. Ever do it. Every time he throws the ball, it's the record. And you're just talking about, though, like, compared to the old days, these guys, they could hit the quarterback and stuff like that. But, man, those are quarterbacks who wouldn't get hit by these guys like they are today, man. It's
no, it's a different thing. These are Mack trucks coming at them these days.
Yeah, That's all these dudes do, too. Like, every day. They just get bigger, faster, and stronger every day. Like,
yeah. Now that is something that Cincy needs to tighten down is protecting Burrow.
No, they don't either.
Oh, dude, Stafford just threw a bomb to Cup. Is that Cup? They're down at like the 10-yard line. This may be a walk-off field goal.
For sure.
He's getting there. He's trying to spike the ball right now. It's crazy.
Did you hear what McPherson said to Burrow on the way off of the field yesterday?
Guess we're going to the play for the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Guess we're playing the AFC Championship game.
I love that confidence, don't you guys?
I mean, like that's something honestly that Cincinnati's lacked for a long time, though, right? Because they've been the Bengals for so long.
Yeah.
So good for them, man, to get this young talent in.
Stafford just threw a bomb to Cup. They're down on like the 7-8 yard line. They just spiked the ball, getting ready to kick a walk-off field goal, which was crazy about yesterday. Both those games were walk-off field goals.
Yeah.
And the two top seeds. Were eliminated on walk-off field goals, and now you're getting ready to see the same thing probably happen right here.
Yeah.
Hold on, all right, the ball's down. They're getting ready to kick it through the uprights. The Rams just won.
Well, there we go.
Rams are a problem, man. Yesterday I watched both those games too, man. Like, I know San Francisco outplayed Green Bay all day long, but couldn't get the ball in the end zone, man.
Nope.
But I'm glad they ended up pulling out the end, man, and getting that W.
Yeah. No, all right. So anything that you wanted to hit on, JD, with I did want to kind of address this as far as Michelle, who I love. Anyone who's getting ranked millions of dollars to play basketball has no right to kneel. Being black hasn't stopped them from the American dream. While I somewhat agree with that, I somewhat disagree with that, because most of those guys that are on that floor are not going to be millionaires. One or two of them, if they get lucky, are going to go. Now, I somewhat agree that being black, as far as I know, being from Eastern Kentucky is very similar in a way. Not we haven't had the same, struggles that the black community has had, but we've had similar type struggles. So, and I always think if you work hard and you get through it, I still think you should stand for the national anthem, but I come to the point where I respect their right to do so as a form of protest. So that's just. But I think, it's a valid point either way.
Yeah.
So let's jump into a couple of political topics for the week.
I'm going to say something about this nil before we get anything.
No, go ahead. Fire away.
Because, this is my style. That's what I'm talking about. Like, everybody acts like it's such a great tragedy. These people kneel for, I don't get it. Like, let the guys kneel if they got a voice. They want to use that voice. They want to use that platform, and so be it. It's not a big deal to me. I just don't get all the. I understand it's symbolism. That's all it is. At the end of the day, it's all symbolism, but there's really no substance, and there's nothing really majorly being done that's wrong, in my opinion. That's all.
Well, it's not symbolism to people who have died for the country and things like that. So there's two ways of looking at it. Now, like Jimmy Don said, I am someone who, we just had this conversation, JD, before you come on. So we were talking about Calipari. I'm someone who stands for the flag. I'm very patriotic. I'm very proud to be American. Sure. I feel like as a woman, although that we have been held back in some ways too, that this is the greatest country in the world for me as a female. I feel like I can get as much as you guys get, but I have to work a little harder. I will say that. But as far as kneeling goes, I cannot tell you what Black people go through and what they feel like because I'm not Black. I can tell you, as a white Appalachian Eastern Kentucky girl, we all have a chip on our shoulder because of how people treat us. So for those people who kneel, for the Black people who choose to kneel, who knows what they have experienced for their first 20 years of life? You know what I mean? And that might be why they choose to kneel. It's not that they hate the country or they hate this or whatever. It's just something has made them feel like they are not being treated fairly, and they choose to show it by kneeling. So I'm with Knox. I agree that, I'm all in. Yeah, I'm all in with it. I just don't think that you should go, so hardcore on things either way.
So that's one of the misconceptions I think people have about kneeling, though. People don't know that, or maybe they do know, or maybe they don't care. I don't know. But when Kaepernick started this kneeling thing, he went to a veteran. The veteran told him to kneel. He would rather see him kneel than just sitting on the bench. So out of respect, he's kneeling instead of, because I don't know if you first remember when Kaepernick started this, he just sat on the bench. This guy reached out to him, an officer or a veteran, said, "Hey man, I really appreciate it." And he was like, so Kaepernick met with the guy, said, "What would you rather me do?" He said, "I'd rather see you kneel." So to me, I think that's the most respectful thing, is talk to a veteran and see what they would you. If you want to protest. They're not protesting the national anthem. I mean, they're not protesting the great things about America, but also we're not going to turn a blind eye to the problems we do have. It don't mean we don't love it here.
Yeah. So it doesn't kill me. I mean, I don't like it. I wish everybody felt like they wanted to stand for the flag, but I can't make that decision for everybody. Everybody has their own journey. So.
Right. No, I agree with that 100%. So one more thing before we jump into the others. It's supposed to snow again.
I don't think so.
Y'all, I'm in Tennessee. I was up in Kentucky for 2 weeks straight. Me and Brooklyn and Todd came home Friday, and Brooklyn was like, "This is the first time that I haven't stepped outside and crunched because the snow has stayed on in our backyard up there for 2 weeks."
Well, I'm the guy. Are you all like this? Like I like the snow. Like it's one of the things I love about living in Kentucky or where we live, is that you get all 4 seasons, right? And I enjoy a nice snowstorm. One. And then once that one is done,
I'm done with it.
I'm done. Let's move on to spring. Like we got our snow.
I said the same exact thing to somebody this past week.
I get to go sleigh riding. I get to get out and play, and it's fun driving to work on the ice and the snow. It's there's something fun about having to do that. I don't know, but once, and then I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good until the end of January. So this is when I about start teetering out on winter. I'm ready to go into immediate spring. So hopefully it doesn't snow too much. But like I said, I'm in Knoxville this week, so I don't think I've got any threat here.
So I hate the winter. Like it drives me crazy. The thing I noticed about myself though is the older I get, the more summer wears on me. Usually by the end of the summer, I'm like, okay, it's been 95 for 6 weeks in a row. Let's just bring on the fall. Let's get out this thing.
Yeah. I love fall too.
So I'm getting to where I can tolerate winter more than summer, because summer is, man.
Oh no, 100%, dude. Because spring and fall are my favorite seasons now, because it's just not that hot, it's not that cold, it's just right.
We had a nice long fall this year, so it was really nice.
Well, and fall is football season. Football's in the air. It's that's when I know I'm gonna start going to Commonwealth or to the Krog. I know I'm gonna start going down there, and those are my 2 favorite seasons, because I'm like you. Winter's fine for a while, then I want it to be spring. Summer's fine for a while, and then I'm just like, I'm done with that. I'm done with the heat. Let's move on.
Yeah, maybe we all have a little attention deficit. we're good in each season for a little while, then we want to go on.
I think I'm just old, Don, and I get colder than I used to, and I burn up quicker than I used to because I'm lazy.
Now, see,
So,
I am all about the heat. I don't know what the heck to wear in wintertime other than layers and layers of clothes. In summertime, it's a bikini, and I'm out by the pool, and the kids are out of school, so
I'm all
it's
about
nice.
the heat too. If there's a pool or an ocean
Yeah.
close by.
Yeah. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not in the sun, but I'm by the pool.
So, all right, let's jump into this first. And JD, one of the topics we had kind of discussed to talk, I wanted to talk a little bit about Biden and Russia this week. And it's Biden says things at times that concern me. I'm not even going to pretend like he doesn't, but I try to support my president. Okay, like he's my president. I try to support what he's doing, whether I agree with it or not. And he says some silly things, but I really was concerned this week about what he said about Russia and about them invading Ukraine. And he said, well, if they do like a full blown deal, then their response will be very high and great or whatever. Not like he's not Trump. He doesn't talk like Trump. It'll be the biggest thing ever. He said if it's a moderate deal, then it'll be a moderate. So he basically, with all that said,
match response.
He basically said, go ahead and do what you need to do. As long as it's not too big of a deal, we're not going to say anything. And that actually concerned me. And he caught some criticism, I think from the left wing and the right wing TV stations about saying that. So JD, you're the liberal of the panel. Like when he says that specifically, I guess, does that concern you at all?
Well, that's concerning. Again, I've not heard this, so this is news to me. But so far he's taken a very harsh stance with Russia so far, and him and Putin do not get along. So I'm surprised by it actually that that's coming out. But so far he's been very tough with Russia. So it's concerning. We don't want to send a message like, hey, just be good over there, and then we'll be good, or just do it easily and quietly, and we'll stay away. I don't like that message at all. I like.
Yeah.
Let's be strong. Let's be strong.
Don, what are your thoughts?
I think it's kind of funny that everybody spent years saying that Trump and Putin were BFFs and, bros and all this stuff, but yet Trump had all the time in the world to say, there you go ahead, invade Ukraine, go ahead and finish the job, but he didn't. I think if Putin is going to do it, he needs to do it while Democrats in there because there's not going to be any repercussions. We're not going to do anything. We're sending a few arms to them. I think England is sending a few arms to them. Ukrainians know they're on their own. They know this is
what are you all basing that on? I don't understand
that. The news. Yeah.
No, like the Democrats ain't going to do anything.
They're not going to do anything. Why do you think Putin's doing it now versus when his best friend was in? Everybody said that Putin. Okay.
He was doing things.
Michelle, Caitlin, Vicky, all these girls are my friends. So if we're friends and they're like, hey, you're in control of something right now. Is it a good time for me to move in? I'd be like, yeah, go ahead. I got you back.
Right.
So I think it's kind of funny that everybody said Trump and Putin were best friends, but yet Putin didn't make this move when Trump was president. He's making it now while Biden's president because we all know nothing's going to happen to Putin. No. There's no way that we're going to strike Russia if Russia goes in and invades West Ukraine. It's just not going to happen. We're going to throw a couple sanctions on them and say big words, and that's it. When Biden said what he said, Jimmy Dawn, you were I was aghast. Everybody was.
I was too. I was like, what did you just say?
Yeah, because I am like you. I watched him. I root for him. This is a big deal. Remember, when the Nazis took over, they started one little at a time. They didn't go in all full throttle on 5 and 10 countries at a time. They did one little piece at a time. So this is how war starts, right? So anyway, when he said, as long as it's not a big deal, then do whatever. I thought Chuck Schumer, Pelosi, who is the speaker? I can never say her name, the redhead girl, Paskey or whatever. They went on full 4 alarm. Let's fix this. I think it was a slip up on Biden. I hope it was a slip up on what he said, but that slip up cost the Europeans to lose their minds. I mean, you've seen what they did. They were like, oh my God, calling us up, going, I can't believe you just said that. Fix that because we're over here. You guys aren't. And this is going to get us all in trouble. Putin's going to strike, and then there we go. You basically just gave him a pass. It was a big slip up on Biden, for sure.
JD, you want to respond to that at all?
No, I mean, I agree with a lot of that. I mean, I think we ought to be strong, man. And I think most of our presidents, I know that people act like, oh, the Republicans are tough, the Democrats are a bunch of soft asses. That's really not been the case at all. Most of our presidents have been pretty stern people. You know, I know Obama was the president. Like, you don't want to be the leader of the Al Qaeda because you lived a very short time. And
when Obama was president, when they invaded Ukraine the first time, if I'm not mistaken, and then when Trump's president, nobody did nothing, and then when Biden's president, we're going to go in and we're going to finish off Ukraine. It's not that I'm saying that Democrats are weak. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there is a pattern to support the fact that these things tend to happen when a Democrat is holding the office, and facts are facts. So what are we going to do? What are we going to do if Putin goes ahead and makes a move? I call it right now. We're not going to do nothing. Well,
I don't really know. Like, honestly, I don't know what the right thing to do is, because it's like during election years, we're like, oh, we're not the police of the world. And then something like this happens and everybody's like, oh my God, we should go fight. Like, should we? Like, does our responsibility begin and where's our responsibility end? So
that's a great point.
So I can't say that just because they're going to invade Ukraine that we should go over there and do that. So, I mean,
and nobody is. I'm literally posting the
question. I know that. I'm just saying it's not a black and white thing, though. It's not a black and white thing.
Yeah. Now, who knows? We flipped out on Afghanistan and we caused how many Americans to be left out back there. I mean, there's a lot of problems that we have. I think that honestly, we should probably focus, if it were me, more on how to get this country lined out. This country meaning our country. I mean, tell Putin and them, you better not make a move, because that's going to, any type of disruption over there will involve us. That's just how it is. We've got men stationed everywhere over there. Sure. So so it will involve us. I'd say you better calm it down, because honestly, the world as a whole needs to figure out how people can afford their groceries, how they can afford their gas, how they can get a hospital bed if they have a car wreck. We've got bigger fish to fry right now, but Putin's Putin, right? He's going to do his thing.
Yeah, Putin's going to Putin, for sure.
Putin's going Putin. Let's just hope it. Yeah.
I want to switch gears just real quick, and this just came to my mind, and but I wanted to discuss this. After, we did the podcast last week, and for those of you who don't know, we stream live on Facebook and on YouTube. And for the first time ever, since we've been doing this, one of our shows got taken off YouTube.
Right.
Like, it was taken down and it was about the medical information. Let me see if I can find it. It was about what we talked about essentially. But it was funny that happened when really the topic that we were talking about was censoring people on these social media platforms.
Right.
And then it happened to us. And that's
what you call irony, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It says, let's see here.
Let's blame it on JD.
That's what we'll do. Our team has reviewed your content, and unfortunately, we think it violates our medical misinformation policy.
Yeah.
We removed the following content from YouTube, and it is episode 107, Why is Twitter censoring certain voices? And so apparently we said a couple of words too much when we were having that discussion.
We know what the words are. So for the audience, we can no longer say words that rhyme with, I don't know, peck or mitten. We can't say that. So we will call it horse med, I guess, or something. They pick up on these words. They pick up on these algorithms. And we have never on this podcast, not one time, told people to not vaccinate and told people to take 15 vaccines. I listen to these podcasts. A lot of times I'll go back and re-listen on what we say. We're very middle of the road. And I think that's what makes us good. We're middle of the road, free think, go ahead, do your own research. All I say on here is I do think a primer vaccine is great. Get you one vaccine. If you want to get 5, get 5. I'm not going to get 5. But I also think that people should have access to treatment. That's what we say. And, I threw out a name of a specific treatment that's being used in other countries. But if we say that word over here, then we get censored and evidently pulled down from YouTube. And
so, JD, isn't that crazy? I mean, but we were literally talking about that, but it goes to kind of the point we were making. you're not allowed to have a differing point of view than the narrative, and you're going to get pulled down.
And let me correct something before JD answers. It's not even a different point of view. There is plenty of scientists that prescribe this certain medication, several medications, not just that one. They prescribe several medications that our media and our particular scientists don't want. So yeah, you're definitely right. When it's against their narrative, then it's just, you're wrong. And that's not what science is. Science is supposed to be. It's supposed to be peer reviewed. It's supposed to be challenged. That's exactly what science is.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, so I think we all just named this podcast this week is YouTube, please don't pull us down.
No, but but we were talking about, that differing point of view, and it generally seems to be if it's on one side of the aisle or the other, and then we get pulled down. It was just odd. Like we were making the point and then got pulled down.
But I tell you what, it's still frustrating to me. I still have people in my hometown going, "This vaccine don't work. It don't do anything." It does work, guys. It does. It's not a cure. It doesn't. It's not going to cure everything, but it works. The vaccine works. Is that right, Don? Am I right? Or am I wrong?
It definitely protects against severe illness and death.
It definitely stops, reduces the chances of getting it.
Of severe illness and death, yes.
And also reduces the chances of spreading it. So it does. It works. It's not a cure. The vaccine's not a cure.
Yeah. I think where people get so tore up over this vaccine is we're used to having vaccines like the MMR vaccine and the smallpox vaccine. We're used to having these vaccines that literally stop transmission, and this one hasn't. We have data that this one does cause problems with people after they take it. We have no data 5 years after they take it, 10 years, and 15. So that's where the controversy of this vaccine comes in, is people are pushing one thing and one thing only, and they're pushing it multiple times. Not one vaccine, not two. We're up to 3 and 4 now. And Israel did say that with Omicron, if you take a 4th vaccine, it does raise your antibodies, but it still doesn't get you as high as it needs to get you to stop Omicron. So as far as the vaccines go, I've said it a million times, and Michelle is right. Prime your system if you want with a vaccine. That will help your you if you get Omicron or if you get Delta or any of these variants. There's just no question to it. We have tons of unvaccinated people who have a much more severe case than the ones who are freshly vaccinated. The problem is with the vaccine, once you start taking it, at some point you're going to have to decide when you're going to stop, because this particular vaccine, like Michelle said, doesn't really seem to be a vaccine. It's one of those that you have to take every 2 and 3 months. People will argue, oh, well, you take the flu shot every year. Yep, I take it one time every year. This time, it's been 4 vaccines in 12 months. Because remember, that vaccine's only been out. It hasn't even been out a year yet. You guys didn't start getting the vaccine until probably, February or March of 2021. So it's not been a year yet. And we're already throwing 4 in some people.
So I learned a new side effect of COVID yesterday, and it blew my mind. I read this article. Do you know that? You ever heard of a sex headache?
A sex headache.
Apparently, if you get COVID, like one of the side effects of it can be that when you are having sex and you're about to reach your fun spot, I guess, I don't know, you're about to climax, it can cause you to have a headache.
Yeah.
Have y'all heard about like a blinding like migraine? It blew my mind. I read this article about it. I'll send it to you. It's crazy.
Well,
I'm getting another vaccine right now.
Listen, JD, that just makes me believe that it's more about controlling our population than it is anything. The actual numbers are get people to quit having sex. Because apparently we learned last week that it can make a man's private part shrink, and now you get a headache.
This is the devil. This is the devil virus.
Yeah. Yes. I'm telling you, I don't want anything.
I can't afford to have this COVID.
People need to be careful about the virus. It's like every other virus, but worse, because we've always lived with bacteria and viruses, but our ancestors lived with them, so then we learned about them. But with this one, like JD said, it is every other day some new data comes out about a strange side effect or long haul thing going on with COVID. I don't want to risk it. I don't know if I'm an anomaly or what, but I don't want my kids to catch COVID, and I don't want to catch COVID. It's not that I'm scared of, I'm sure I'll survive. It's just I don't want to lose my hair, lose my eyes, have a sex headache. You know, I mean, all these things that come with it seems like a problem. So people need to do what they can to mitigate it.
Jimmy, on you watching the Chiefs game?
I am. It's 0-0. Buffalo's got the ball, 11-19 to go. Just got a first down. Nothing major happening.
Okay.
Nothing major happening. No, as far as like before I took the shot, because everybody that watches this knows I was hesitant to get the shot, more so than JD or Don, either one. And one of the things that really helped me make my decisions while I was talking to Clayton, and he said, look, dude, there's nothing in this shot that hasn't been around for 20 years and been used in other places. There's nothing in it, that could really, while we don't know what the long-term effects are, the ingredients of this particular shot, it's not that big of a deal. Go get the shot. You're fine. That's not something you should worry about. I do believe, like at this point, I still believe that it absolutely helps you against what Don said, severe illness and death. I don't agree as strongly about that it lowers the spread, because I think you can still spread it no matter what. Maybe it's a little less, but you can spread it no matter what. I mean, and there was times, and that's the whole problem with all this junk, is when this stuff first started happening, they were pushing the narrative so hard. There's a clip of Rachel Maddow saying, if you take this, it stops it. It will not spread anymore. And there was a lot of that coming out. They were saying that on the news, and then it just turned out not to be true. And so you have all these people questioning, whether or not this is something you should even do. As far as, am I glad I took the vaccine? Yes, because I'm pretty sure a couple of weeks ago I had COVID, and I didn't get really sick. I got a little bit of a cough. It was annoying, but I didn't get sick. But I'm pretty sure I gave it to Amy. And so it's, it's just one of those, I'm glad I did it. I felt like it helped me. Am I going to get boosted? I don't know yet. And until getting my daughter's vaccinated, it's still a question.
So, I'm not got my booster. I don't know.
Yeah. Everybody. Well, we have about 220 million people, I think, that are eligible to get their boosters, but only about 80 million have done so. So that's why you see the government changing, because when people see for their own eyes and start to question what's going on in front of them, they start to change their mind. Todd was one of the first people, we went over it 1,000 times, to get his 2 vaccines in December 2020 and then January 21. He hasn't boosted yet. We go back and forth on if we're going to boost, if we're not going to boost. I have one child in this house that's not vaccinated. Get this, I have another child in the house that is vaccinated. They want her to go and get what they now call up to date. So Jimmy Don, you're not fully vaccinated, and neither are you. We have to be up to date. The CDC's changing their verbiage. Okay, so now they're calling it up to date. So they want one of my kids to get up to date. But here's what's funny about that: they're giving her hell about it. But on the same day, they let a COVID positive student come in and participate in the class with them, and nobody wore a mask except for 3 people. Now the professor offered a mask, but nobody accepted except for 2 other kids. None of this makes sense, guys. It just doesn't make sense. So if you're so concerned about one of my kids getting a 3rd, 4th, 5th vaccine, are you really concerned about the spread? Because it doesn't seem that way when you're allowing COVID positive students to come in with COVID negative students and sit there. And I want to give you this fun fact.
JD Buffalo just scored.
Touchdown.
Just scored a touchdown.
Did you guys watch the congressional hearings? So one of the senators from Georgia asked the CDC director point blank, and I can upload it if they'll let me upload it on Facebook later on Jab. He asked how many CDC employees are working in the laboratory, because he said 75% to 80% are at home. So he said, why is it we're sending teachers out and we're sending all these people out, we're forcing them to work if you can't even get your own employees to come to work? And Dr. Walensky didn't know how to answer that. Then he pressed her with how many of the employees are vaccinated? How many of your, JD, your employees are vaccinated? JD could probably give me an answer, but the head of the CDC couldn't to a senator. That causes people to question what is their motive here. If the CDC is more concerned about us three getting vaccinated than she is her very own employees, that doesn't seem to add up, does it?
No, I definitely see where you're going with it. Yeah.
And I don't mean to interrupt you, Don, but we're running short on time because I know JD's going to want to go watch this ball game. And there was a question I've been dying to ask both of you all week.
This is gonna be good. I can't wait.
No, it's just I don't know that it's good or not, but I don't know that I'd ever heard of this before. And Ted Cruz was questioning this lady from the FBI about these agent provocateurs. And they were talking about January 6th, and there was somebody there who was an agent provocateur who apparently was someone from the FBI. And this happens in multiple places. Like this has happened multiple times where there's somebody there, they'll get something popped off so that they can shut it down fairly quick.
Okay.
And Ted Cruz asked this FBI agent, did you have an agent there that started violence? I can't answer that question. And he asked her multiple versions of that question, and they couldn't answer. They basically said, I can't answer that question. Whereas it would have been real simple to shut that down and just said no. But apparently they placed these agents in, like even the riots and things, they would put them out there. They'll get it started to where it pops it off, and then they can come in and shut it down fairly quick. Right. And this person, there's video of this person, and people are saying fed.
Well, I think we've lost the guys. So I guess we will just see you guys next week.
Hey, so the electricity flickered, and I lost JD and Don. And James guessed, wow, that is weird. Jimmy Don just got the plug pulled for talking about the FBI. Absolutely. So I don't know if you guys are still here or not. We'll let that be the show for today. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We appreciate all the support that we get. We truly do. Thanks again. You know where to find us. Instagram, Facebook. JD and Don are posting good content over there. Great discussions going on all the time. And of course, you can find the podcast on Podbean, iTunes, anywhere that you can find podcasts. Just Add Bourbon is there. All right, guys, I'll end this. No matter how bad your week's been, no matter how bad your day's going, if you just add bourbon, it always gets a little bit better. We'll see you guys next week, and we may answer the question about the agent provocateurs. See you then.